Okay, today I thought I'd show a little more of the process instead of just the end result. So maybe give you guys an idea how I got to where I'm going. There is the old piston out of the barn find 1980 Honda Express. Let's see here. We got, as you can see, we've got significant blow by. And then we've got, I started to scrape this off, but I've just kind of given up on it for now, and I'm just going to use a new piston. So a lot of carbon buildup here. Obviously, I think the rings were too loose. This was an inexpensive piston and ring set, and I paid the price later. I paid the price later. Oh my. And then I've already cleaned this up, but this was just caked with carbon. I'd never seen one that bad. As a matter of fact, you can see little bits that I still couldn't get off maybe on the video. Here's a new piston. Rings already installed. That is so nice. Complete with our oh shit, can't even remember what that thing's called. And circlips. Although, well, let's take a look here, man. These don't look all that different. Actually, they look like the same damn piston. So I'm wondering, wonderful. I will check and make sure that the rings do a better job of fitting, and I can always do a ring expander on that bottom ring, I guess, if need be. Let me see here. This will be tough to see. Here's the old cylinder. And what I'm trying to show you is that exhaust port excuse me, is about more than 50% blocked up. And then, whoops. It's like working in the mirror here. And you can't really see there, but the intake port also has some blocking, and so does the transfer port. Maybe we'll look in the bottom here. That's really not much better. Can't really tell, but believe me, it's a mess. And like I said, I think that all from the rings being too loose. And on the old piston, kind of get an idea of the shape of the exhaust port. It's kind of squared off. Well, this time I'm going to try this other cylinder I have, and you can see that I think this is from an older Express, and the only difference is that exhaust port is much more generous. We'll see how the difference is on it running. And I've honed it out already. We can get any light, but oh, it looks nice. Take my word for it. I wonder if the intake port is any bigger. Not sure though. So I'm just going to scrub that out because when you hone it, let's see if I can get this. I've wiped it out. When you hone it, where's my? I might as well show you that too. Let's get it all on camera. Yeah. So here's my cylinder hone for this 40 millimeter cylinder, and you just stick it on a drill, and for maybe 20-30 seconds go one way and then reverse the drill, and maybe 20 or so seconds go the other way, and that's going to take off a real fine layer I'll look for that in a minute, but that'll take off a real fine layer of metal. And so you can kind of see the gray. That's a combination of the oil and a real thin layer of metal from the inside of the old cylinder. So you can't wipe all that off. I've got a special cylinder wash brush, which I've hid from myself, at least for the time being. And I will locate it. Maybe I'll stick it on film. But I just take, I've got a bucket here, which is some hot water, and my favorite, one of my favorite cleaners, Dawn dishwashing liquid. Really good at breaking down oil. And I just scrub the heck out of that thing. And I grabbed a bunch of Q-tips. Where did I put them? And hid those from myself as well, because I enjoy, compounding my frustrations. And one of my biggest sources of frustration is getting something and then losing it just a few seconds later. By the way, while we're filming stuff, here's my Chem Dip carburetor cleaner, which I'm going to use on that old Express carb to see if I can't clear up the pilot jet any better. And it's obviously a bit stronger than the environmentally friendly simple green that I prefer to use, but sometimes you got to bring out the big guns. And yeah, while we're doing show and tell, here's let's put it right here. There's the Delorto clone carburetor. Goes by the name of Runtong, and mesh air filter. I probably want to, well, we'll see how it all fits. I was thinking I probably want a bigger air filter. And then here's the intake adapter. This is for the Urban Express, a completely different bike, but hope to put that on video soon as well. And any more show and tell? I don't think so. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up this cylinder, and maybe today, if time allows, I will have a video of it all bolted together, or maybe I'll make another short video in the interim, as showing you part of the insulation process for the new piston and rings and cylinder jug, etc. And then after that, maybe a first start video, and see if we've turned the corner. I'll get it on film. Here is the cylinder wash brush. I found it. So you just jam that in the cylinder, in the soapy water there, and work it quite a bit, and go about cleaning it that way. Just wanted to show you. Okay, progress report. As you can see, I've got the piston in the cylinder. I just put on a circlip. One thing that's different is we've got the C circlips instead of the G circlips, which were on the old one. So I had to wrap my mind around the best way to install those, because it's been a while since I've done this, and I do it quite a bit, but not often enough to where, you know, the circlips are second nature. So what I came up with is you basically, instead of trying to install it like that, you turn it and push it in, and then so I turn it and I push it in like that. You can see, instead of trying to do it parallel, I do it perpendicular, get it in, and then work it in from there. And it's always helpful to get one side in, and then before I installed the piston and the rings, I took two-stroke oil and coated the inside of this, and then coated the piston with two-stroke oil. And it should go in by hand. You never should have to pound on it with like a mallet or anything. And then of course there's a big usually there's an arrow, probably can't see it now, but usually there's an arrow pointing down at the exhaust, or in this case there's a big EX. So you install the piston exhaust side toward the exhaust, and then I'll usually install it like this. And I remembered the name of the wrist pin. So I'll have one circlip in, I'll install it, put the wrist clip in, and that way I only have to put in the other circlip, you know, just one circlip after I've got it pretty much installed. And then, well, shit. Just noticed there was an old exhaust gasket on this, and I've already got an exhaust gasket on it. The only issue is, yeah, shit. Good thing I caught that. Well, see, this isn't going to peel off all together in one piece. So, this is the stuff you miss that drives you nuts later. So I'm going to have to take the piston out, which is no big deal, and get all this exhaust gasket off, which usually involves a lot of scraping, because you want to get all of it off, or a wire brush is helpful too. And I'll probably have to clean the whole thing again, because these exhaust shavings will get everywhere. Yep, oh well. Yeah, see, sometimes you miss stuff. Better to catch this now than later. And then to prevent it from sticking from next time, you coat the new exhaust in two-stroke oil on both sides. And that helps prevent this from sticking on if you ever have to remove the cylinder again. So, well, that's too bad. And then I've got a new exhaust gasket, which just fits down in here. Well, that's too bad I missed that. Oh well. So, I'm going to take the piston out, clean off that exhaust gasket, and You know, the good thing is I caught it now, and I did install it with 2 exhaust gaskets, although it wouldn't be the end of the world, but probably would have maybe some sealing issues with that old exhaust gasket. So, hey, I'm making this video so you don't make the same mistakes that I do. And at least I caught it.